Hello, welcome everyone to From the Ground Up. We are a sponsored podcast by Grit Daily. We talk to entrepreneurs out there about the companies that they're working on and what they're doing in the world. And the idea is hopefully that entrepreneurs out there can get an idea of how to run their businesses better after they listen to our guests. Today, I'm joined by Gaurav. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. Thank you so much, John. Thanks for
How,
having us.
how do you pronounce your last name?
Oh, it's Bhattacharya, Gaurav Bhattacharya.
Right, right. And tell us about your background and your company.
Sure.
It's Jeeva AI, correct?
That's correct. Yeah, John. So just a quick background about me. I'm a software engineer by trade, and obviously as a founder, I've been learning sales over a long time. This is my third startup now, and basically, I sales doesn't come naturally to me. So I'm a lifelong learner of sales, and I've spent I feel like 10 years reading every single book from like predictable revenue to like spin selling and everything. And I wanted to, at the end of the day, this for my third startup, I wanted to do something that I've learned for so long doesn't come naturally to me. And I was like, man, all the stuff that sellers have to do, which is not talking to people, closing deals, or doing discoveries, demos, and carrying out the sales cycles, that stuff I don't think AI will ever do. But anything that's manual, repetitive, like finding the right lead, sending the stupid 70th email to the prospect who's not following up with you, I was like, man, AI should do that better, faster, and cheaper. So that's what we're building. We're trying to take all the non-selling kind of tasks away, like that seller, they take 90% of sellers' times away. We're doing this with AI. So that's what Jiva AI does.
Yeah, no, I was going to say you definitely come across as a pretty sociable guy. So it
I
doesn't.
appreciate it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, sale. You say sales doesn't come naturally, but I'm kind of sold on you already.
I appreciate it. One, thanks. I got to tell mom today.
That's great. So okay, so how did you first get interested in AI, and
Yeah.
then sort of tell me how you sort of took AI and sort of wanted to apply it to sales.
Oh yeah, totally. So I'll start from the very beginning, John. I come from. I think we were talking about this right before, like recording the podcast. Come from New Delhi originally. I was born and raised in a very blue collar family. Lost my dad to cancer when I was two. Mom was, washed utensils door to door. So I had a very like blue collar middle class upbringing. Had no idea about AI. Actually, I got introduced to computers when I was about 10 years old. We got an old Windows PC. My older brother was into programming, so I started coding when I was 10. Built my first video game at 12, and then I discovered the online world of Reddit and Quora, and this was like very new. It was starting at that time, and like I obviously lied, and I was like, yeah, of course I'm 21 years old, right? Or yeah, I was in all these forums, and all people could talk about was machine learning, and that was like the new concept that was trending at that time. Obviously, it wasn't AI as we know it today, and I just got hooked on it. I wanted to understand what it is, what the future is going to look like, and I started coding at like a young age. And my first startup was a machine learning startup, hardcore ML, very different than the AI today. Actually, the AI today is much better. It's so funny. Like I feel like we spent years and years building something that would just do barely like like anything you can ask from chat gpt, the simplest stuff. Like I felt it took so much time, but I think that's how far we have come along. And my first startup was in the healthcare space. Like I had a co-founder whose parents were doctors, and what we were doing then back then is we were trying to predict different types of cancers, and it was very interesting. So we did some really clinical deep applications of, we worked with radiologists on everything from like a female fetus, which is a massive problem in India. We were trying to solve that with machine learning. We were trying to solve different types of cancer predictions with ultrasound machines, which can be much cheaper than doing MRI, CT scan. So that was my first company. It was very different than what I'm doing today, but still like hardcore machine learning. And we ran that for several years. Bootstrap company, actually had an exit. And then I had an opportunity. My company that acquired us moved me out to the US, and I came to Los Angeles. We were talking about that too. I came to Santa Monica, and I was hooked. I was like, man, this is amazing. I love the weather. I love the food. I was
Mhm.
actually like eating pancakes, which is not a thing in India. I was eating pancakes, and I was like,
Really,
man,
pancakes aren't a thing in India?
I don't know why. It should be, right. That could be our next company. Right? I was literally sitting pancakes on a beautiful sunny day at an IHOP, right? And I was
Mm.
like, oh, this is amazing. I would never move out. So that's my story. That's how I came to the US. So I've been in from hardcore ML. And then when this new AI wave started, I was like, man, wish we had Chat GPT to build what we were building back then. We would probably have done 500 things better, different, faster, cheaper. and that was it. We were hooked. We were like, man, we're gonna do something cool in AI. Actually, the story is, John. We started as a very different idea. Our idea was going to be around customer data and customer churn prevention. So that was our first hypothesis. That's what we started with. Ran it for several years, didn't find any product market fit, and we were very shocked because we had a successful company before, and now
Mm.
we were really struggling. And then what we decided was we actually went back to our board about 6-7 months back, and we were like, it's not working. We want to return capital, and we'll try something else. And our board was like, what would you be doing if you were not doing this? And we said we have built this tool internally. We call it Jeeva, and we're using it to prospect and do lead generation, all kind of cool stuff. I think there's a market here. And they were like, you should just keep going. And so that's our story. So we went from like 0 to 200 plus customers, now 10,000 active users, 9
Wow.
million plus annual revenue in literally the last few months. But also, people don't see that we've been doing this for like 15 years now. So that's my story in a nutshell.
Yeah, I think that that's the different people who listen to the show. I think they're looking for sort of stories and how they can apply them to their own lives and everything like that. You're pointing to kind of, it's not a dream scenario. Obviously, entrepreneurship is very choppy. You had
Yeah,
a company that was not doing fantastic this second time around,
yeah,
but a tool was born out of the project that was struggling. Maybe
that's
Jiva
exactly
AI was born out of that.
that's
Uh,
exactly right.
Tell us a little bit more about that, because I think there's a lot of entrepreneurs out there who are sort of like working day to day. How can they sort of like prepare for their future that way, or ensure their future that way, and create a company out of the company that's not working? Like
Yeah,
that's
man. You know what?
incredible.
I really appreciate it, John, and it was definitely really hard. And maybe I'll walk through like some of the hard things that is non-obvious, right? So I'll
Yeah,
give you the non-obvious stuff. It's almost like, I'm sure, and it's all about grit, and that's why I love the love the
it's all
grit.
about grit.
It's all
It's
about
all
grit.
about
The,
grit.
I'll tell you the non-obvious stuff, right? When people are pivoting away from one thing to another, right? So there's the obvious stuff, which is when shit's not working or something's not working, it's super easy for you to call it, and you're like, man, I've tried everything, it's not working, it's at zero. But what happens when it's not at zero? It's like we had 2 million in annual revenue. We had a small team of 10 people. We had some investors with us. So it was basically like we're at 2 million. We have real paying customers and some people use it. Obviously, we were having a hard time go from 2 to 20 and 100, and we read all these stories of all these people crushing it and it's
Yeah.
demoralizing. But it doesn't mean it's not working. So that's a non-obvious part and that's hard. So I'll tell you like one thing that if I can have someone who's trying maybe in my shoes, right, like, and is saying that I have an idea A and it's not working, and I've my wife hates me or my husband hates me, I've given it all, right, they're basically like just shut it down, and I feel like there's an idea B which can be even a bigger opportunity. How do you make the leap from A to B? And the question is, we ran it like a lean kind of startup methodology. What I would do is, and we ran this because we were really struggling. We said that we're gonna run some experiments on A. Like, why is A failing? And what is it that we can, like, can we try these three things that we know like are like our last straw efforts? Like, we give this our all, and if it works, it works. Otherwise, at the same time, we're gonna create a B. And again, like, it's much easier if it was just me, John. I actually had a small team, which is a good thing and a bad thing. The bad thing is nobody wants to, like, it's kind of like, first, nobody wants to work on the new thing, right?
You all have
So
to pivot together somehow. How are you going
that's
to do
exactly right.
this?
No one wants to work on the new thing first because everyone's like, because also if you think about it as a founder, I've sold them on this idea A. I'm like, Dan, this is the best fucking thing. Sorry for my friend, but this is the
No,
best
it's
thing on the
okay. This is
planet.
what it's all
It's
about.
a loaf. It's like the best thing since loaf of bread was created. They're in it. They're waking up every morning because in startups people don't get paid as much, right? So they're waking up on very menial salaries. They're waking up grinding 24/7. And now all of a sudden I'm like, man, A is not really working, so we should try B, which is completely untested. There's no hypotheses. We have zero paying customers. We have an idea. We have a cool tool, but we just have an hypothesis. So
Mm.
no one wants to work on B. But then you get them excited enough to work on B, and then no one wants to work on A, right? Like,
Uh-oh.
because people
Uh-oh.
are like, everyone wants to, then once they're convinced, they're like, they want to work on the new thing. They don't want to be talking to the old customers on the
Mm.
old bugs, on the old issues. So what I did was I created two groups, right? Small groups, three people each. One group was called Keep the Lights On. It's like, you guys have to keep serving the old customers, otherwise you have no money. Like, if we don't get paid, if we don't figure this out, then we're all out of money. And there's a small team called B, which is their purpose is to find product market fit for the second idea. So all you do is make hundreds of cold calls, talk to as many right qualified people as possible to pitch this, whether they'll pay for it or not, whether they have actual dollars towards it or not. So I ran it like a machine, and it was very, very hard, but I feel that's the right way to do it, and we got some enough signals on B. Like we had people who were like, we'll pay for this today. And we were like, prove it, pay us, like, and we'll build this for you. And we got 10 customers who believed in us and our idea enough that they were like, we're gonna back you. So we slowly turned the lights off on the first A and then started on B. It would be much easier, John, if I had no customers, no investors, shut it down. But I had customers, investors, team who was already bought in A, and then had to convince all of them, like, trust me, I wasn't able to make this A work, but trust me, I'm going to make
He
B
is
work,
really
which
great.
even I don't know if it's going to work or not, right? So
Mm.
that's hard. That's hard. So I know
Well,
I'm going into this stuff, but
let's go straight into B. I mean, you've already given us review really quickly what B is, which
yeah,
is Jiva AI,
yeah,
and
exactly.
it's agentic sales help basically. But talk to me more about that, and
Yeah.
sort of give me an example of how sales teams can use it.
Okay, so super easy platform. We've built it in a way. There's tons of tools out there already. So I'll give examples. There's Zoom Info, biggest player in the space to find leads. There's enrichment teams, as they call it. Either it's in-house, which could be like RevOps or sales operations in-house in a company, or it could be like, let's say, people who are in India or Bangladesh. Right? There's like junior people help outside, which is cleaning data, finding the right emails, doing research
Mm.
on simple tasks like this, and building lists. Then there's like outreach platforms like Outreach Automation, Outreach IO, there's SalesLoft. What we did is, man, there's so much tooling. Let's do it. Let's rebuild this from agentic, and let's do it in a single place in a natural language like interface. So imagine you come in, John, and a seller can basically just type in and say, here's my ideal customer profile. I'll sell to VPs of sales in San Francisco, in California, people in financial services with more than 5,000 employees. Here's an example of a couple of personas. Like, here's my current customers. Now go build me a great list. It's going to take like a day or two, or maybe like exaggeration, maybe like a few hours, but it's going
Yeah,
to get back with 500 names of highly qualified individuals that it knows, finds the right emails, does research on them, matches your persona or not. So really good lead list. Then
yeah.
I can go and say, okay, this is awesome. These 500 people look good. Maybe these 400 out of 500 people look good. Now here's the messaging that has worked for me. Here's the campaigns I've done. Here's the kind of outreach I look for. Here's what triggers interest from people. Now go draft me a sequence. Like, write me 20 emails or 5 emails, 3 LinkedIn messages, create a campaign for me. So the AI will do it and will personalize it enough. So then I can start reaching out to people like automatically from my behalf. And all the rep has to do is just say, proofread, approve, send, proofread, approve, send. So that's like the outbound use case. There's tons of use cases like this. Like, there's inbound management, there's a chat bot, there's all of these things that help you get to a conversation. And after that, we feel the rep can take over, because I don't think people buy from people they trust, right, John? So I don't think we're there yet where we can have an, if I was an AI right here and your listeners would be like, man, this is like a waste of time, I don't want to listen to this podcast. I don't think we're there yet. I don't think we're ever going to get there until humans stop buying stuff. I don't
Mm.
think sellers are going to get replaced. That's my hypothesis. So everything that's like manual repetitive tasks that takes a lot of time, we're just letting AI do it. And that's like how sales teams and sellers use our product right now.
Yeah. What are some big misconceptions about AI in sales? Right. The agents. People are hearing about agents. A lot of people don't really understand quite what it is.
Yeah,
There's a
for
lot of
sure.
misconceptions about AI in sales. How do
100%.
we overcome them?
Ooh, what a great question. Um, Man, there's hype cycles, John. I feel like there's hype cycles because ChatGPT as a product is so good, right? I don't know if you use it every day. It's a really good product.
Maybe.
It's a
I
great
do.
product,
I use it. Yeah.
right? Or it could be any version, Perplexity, Claude. People are hooked on whatever they are hooked on, Grok,
Mm-hmm.
right? But it's such a great product for just $20 a month, right? Or maybe even cheaper, right? The free versions are good. So what
Yeah.
ends up happening is all these agentic startups promise the world because they have to, right? It
Yeah.
sucks. Like, if I empathize with the founders, I'm like, man, I totally understand, because you're trying to sell something that is not $20 a month, that is 2,000 a month, 5,000 a month, even 10,000 a month, right? Like, whatever you're trying to package. Now is it really 50 times better, 100 times better? So what ends up happening, John, is there's a lot of over promise and a lot of under delivering of value. I think that's what's happening right now. There's a hype cycle until it catches up to it. But there's some use cases that are very hard to do for ChatGPT. For us, as an example, is finding the right contact information. As an example, right? It's really hard for them to do it because they want to be GDPR compliant. They're not going to give you someone's email. They're not going to give you someone's phone number. And then
Hmm.
how do you tie that back into giving good information, then writing good personal emails for someone, or enriching data with more research about that person? There's like nuances that we have found that we know ChatGPT does much better. We don't want to compete with them, and stuff that they would never touch or they don't want to touch, and that we can like double down on in that agentic flow, basically. And all that an agent is, John, in my opinion, I think that's a question I get a lot. What an agent, John, is that instead of giving just one answer, it can actually do tasks for you. So it can chain a lot of things together. So imagine going to ChatGPT and saying, okay, find me flights to from LA to San Francisco. It can do that for you. But now you can say, find me flights from LA to San Francisco and make sure that I get business class, make sure there's seats available. Now go find stuff like only Alaska, and then go like book this trip for me, give me a confirmation email, put it on my calendar. Now that's agentic for you.
Got it. Yeah, it's interacting with all these different programs all around
That's
one
exactly right.
particular mission. So the sales representative of the future. Well, let's tell me what the sales representative looks like right now, sort of,
Oh,
and what does it look like a couple years out, or even 5 years out? Can we even see that horizon, or is it too far?
that's a great question. I love that question, John. So what I feel is we're almost like Back to the Future is one of my favorite movies. I don't know if you've
Oh
seen Back.
yeah, no, excellent. Yeah,
So what I feel is the sales rep of the future is actually what the seller was back in the 90s. That's kind of what I feel. And I'll tell you what I mean.
yeah.
When sales started, we had one person who's the owner or the founder who's selling, and let's say then they hire like a few salespeople to do it, right? So there's a playbook. We know how it works. Three or four core sellers come in, and all they're doing is they're grinding every day. They're finding good leads through networks, word of
Mm.
mouth, right? All that stuff. Then they're working the leads, closing the deal, managing the customer. And then somehow the software industry screwed it up all up. They were basically like, no, 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 we're going to do it better. We're going to do it the predictable revenue way. We're going to have the MDR, the market development rep, SDR, senior BDR. We're going to have the AE, junior AE, senior AE, staff AE. Then we're going to have like a post sales solutions architect. We're going to have blah, blah, blah,
Ah, yeah,
implementation support, customer support. To only manage a $20,000 deal, now you need like an army of people, right?
yeah.
And the people are so maniacally focused on what they're good at. And one thing that they're good at, they can't do anything else, which is unfortunate, but that's how the industry trained the reps of like from like 2000 to 2025. The seller from the future, I feel, is we call in engineering, we call it a full stack engineer. It's like this engineer is great at back end programming. They can do Python all day. They don't know how to do UI and design, but with AI they can do UI and design, and
Mm.
they can also do integrations work. They can do DevOps. They can also upload stuff to the cloud. That's exactly what's going to happen with sales reps. We're going to have a full stack rep, right? Still can be junior, mid level, senior, but one person who's able to source deals, work deals, get opportunities, close deals, manage pipeline with the help of AI, close maybe implement customers, get them started so they're seeing value. That's what's happening in the future. I cannot deny it. I'm already seeing it in the best reps are doing it. I think that's the future with AI getting better and better. We're going to get towards more full stack sales rep, like full stack engineers.
Yeah. Do you ever see, a question that somebody out there might ask would be, do you ever see the point in the future where AI takes over? There's just an AI sales person. Does that ever happen, or no? It's always
I
going
don't
to
see it.
be.
I can't see it. The only reason, John, is because I feel like the trust doesn't come maybe for $100 deals, $200 deals for like very simple questions when the customer is ready to buy and all they want is to ask some very nuanced questions that they just want to quickly get, and maybe the AI is trained enough to get on the phone, look like me, talk, and you can ask questions, they can respond. There's startups who are doing that. They're not successful right now, but I think for 90% of the scenario, I think where sales, that's why sales is the most noble profession, I feel, right? You have more sellers than engineers because everyone has to sell, and the market does not need yet another CRM system, yet another spreadsheet software, yet another whatever you call it, right? Like hamburger. But right? But 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 I think sellers make it happen, and I think there's a lot of discovery and demo and persuasion and all that stuff, good stuff that happens. I don't think AI is there where it can take over. I don't think it's happening at least in the next decade or so.
Yeah. So as far as to give us an idea of some of the companies that have worked with Jiva AI so far, and some of the measurable growth that they've been able to make happen
Uh,
through the tool.
Yeah, the good news is we literally launched a self-serve version of the platform. So we have tons of people, like we have people from Salesforce, Google, Microsoft, we have sellers from Crunchbase, CB Insights. These guys are using it for free or they pay $20 a month. So there's like tons of people who use it. From a corporate or customer perspective, we work with a lot of mid-sized companies. There's different use cases. I'll give some examples. Like one of our first customers was this company called Service Mob, and it was like a early stage company. They basically ran it like a small business. The founder came to me and said that, look, I have 5 salespeople and I want to triple my revenue, but I don't necessarily want to triple my headcount. I don't want to add
Yeah.
that many people. And we helped them. Now they're doing, I think, close to 3 million in revenue. They went from 1 to 3 in the last 1 year that we worked with them or so, like something like that, less than a year. And that's a really good use case. Then we work with a company called Infotech as an example. So Infotech is this like really big. I think they have 600 sellers, right? So much much bigger. And their use case is just find me the right person at the right time with the right email. I have lists. I've like they scrape lists from LinkedIn. They find these people. They just want to quickly ask AI, give me as much information about this company. Go find like the VP of IT here, the director of IT here, and then draft a quick email. So one
Mm.
of their biggest use cases is enrichment, which is every single day AI is constantly finding good people, enriching their data, pushing it back to Salesforce so that the reps don't have to do it and they can almost double outcomes. So we work with companies like super small, like and like not even that, like sellers can sign up on their own. So that's one, and then super small startups to all the way to like now really large enterprises too.
Yeah, that's great. Geez. So in the next, so we sort of see what it looks like right now with the agentic AI and what it can do. What do you see in the next 5 years from now? How will
Uh,
AI continue to impact sales? Sort of a more general question, I suppose.
so one thing that I'm very excited about, there's this term in programming called vibe coding. I don't know if you came across it or heard about it. Okay, so vibe coding means that you're talking to the AI in natural language and it's coding for you. And if you get stuck, you just say, "Okay, you're stuck. Get it unstuck. I'm stuck here." And it can almost learn by itself and do stuff. So I'll give an example. There's a company called Cursor AI, and they went from almost zero to 300 million in annual recurring revenue in just the last 2 years. There's a company called Windsurf that OpenAI is buying for $3 billion. I think they went from zero to 100 in a couple of years. These are all like vibe coding companies. And what I would love to see is like if we can become like a vibe selling company, we call it, right? It's like it's just
Okay.
one person who's going in, who's just prompting AI 24/7. They're obsessed with selling. They're basically saying, okay, go do deep research on this person, go find me this guy, go now find information about this company, go do research on this customer, and give me all the case studies. And okay, now line up some meetings for me for Tuesday. I'm going to be in San Francisco. Go and line up 5 meetings for me. And we're not there yet, but that's where I see the future going. Is like just like it's vibe selling. You should. I bet your listeners would have heard this concept, but I would love to create Jiva into like what Cursor has done for coding. I would love to create something like that for sales and sellers. I think that would be really cool.
And yeah, it sounds like you have a direction that you're moving in, so that's very interesting. One final question. I could talk to you for a long time,
Oh,
but we gotta keep it bite sized, man. There's the short attention span is a challenge out there for
yeah.
podcast listeners. But for new businesses, folks who are just starting out and they want to try and integrate AI into their sales strategy, what are some little first steps that you would recommend?
Yeah, I think research is a big one. Now, one of the things that I've seen time and time again is if you can do deep research on an account and position that, either sellers know about it or whether it's in your email outreach to them, that makes a huge difference. Super easy, chat GPT, you can automate it. One of your engineers can build something where looks at all the 100 accounts you're chasing this week, this month, and does tons of deep research on them and just shows it to the sales sellers that they can use it. Easiest use case, biggest bang for your buck.
That's great. Appreciate that. Okay, so Gaurav, just real quickly, give us information on Jiva, where people can find it, how they can contact you or whoever they need to contact to check out Jiva.
Okay, great. So So it's jeeva.ai. That's the website. And there's a contact button. You can easily find it. My name is Gaurav. I have a very easy email because I have a very hard name. It's g@jeeva.ai. And I reply to every single email I get. So email is great. If you can actually spell my name on LinkedIn, you can put it there. And I would love to get connected. LinkedIn's like something that I spend a lot of time on these days. I'm
Nice.
excited. So I'd love to talk to any of the listeners. Not even just talk about trying to sell our product to you, but what's it like being a founder, where AI is headed, what's happening in the world of sales and other things. I'd love to connect with folks.
Yeah, no, that's smart because these days, if you're going to try and expand your business, it gets, sales gets involved, and you are an expert in sales, that's for sure. And
Yeah,
I'm sold.
I love it, John. Yeah, it's 10,000 hours. I went from like
Yeah,
not knowing anything about sales to trying. It still doesn't come naturally to me, but I think that's what makes it fun. That's what makes me a lifelong student of sales.
that's a great lesson for all the entrepreneurs listening, is just to be a lifelong student. Um, and we appreciate having you on the show, Gaurav Bhattacharya
It's
of Jeeva AI. Great to have you.
Thank you so much, John. It was a pleasure.